Hello, I'm Rex Childhouse, and because things on the internet seem to lose their date reference pretty easily, I'm recording this portion of the video on Saturday, November 12th, 2022. I'm a published author, and I'm kind of watching on a veteran support homepage, a writer's forum, and I'm not interested in it. In reality, I was after something else. I've written a stack of books. I'm going to brag. This is not all of them. For almost 20 years, I wrote college textbooks, a whole slew of them. And because of attention to detail, understanding of how things are printed, whatever else, I did a whole lot of proofreading and formatting for a major textbook publishing company. It was a good source of income. And then finally got fed up with some issues, because let me address some things first. When you want to be published, you need to provide to the editor is a person, publisher is a company, you need to provide the editor a document that is readable, that's consistent, and as close to camera ready as possible. If they have to send, if reading it annoys them, if typos, improper formatting, poor presentation, poor appearance annoys them, they're going to throw your manuscript off on the side, and that's where it's going to get an apology letter, and that's where it's going to end. Unless you're somebody with a very notable author name or a very sellable name. So if you're a politician, movie star, whatever else, you can probably get some pretty lousy stuff published. If you're average Joe Smuckatelli, it's not going to happen. So you need to learn the tools of how Microsoft, how whatever your text program is going to work. I'm going to show you Microsoft Word. I have it, my edition is 2010. Since today is 2022, I'm dealing in the old-fashioned version, but the principles still remain the same. Your editor is going to set up an account. Let's assume that he likes your work, he or she. I use he non-sexually. Let's assume that your editor likes your work. He's going to set up an account, and every time you talk to him, he's going to charge that account for a specific amount of time or dollars. If he has to send it off to a proofreader, which is what I did for a long time, or a formatter, which is what I did for a long time, he's going to charge that off to your account. Then your book is finally going to sell, and they're going to go to your account, and they're going to take all of the costs from your account and take those away from the revenues, and then take their cut and do all their charges, and then you're going to get 8, 10, 12%. I will tell you that on a couple of my books I actually got 15%, which turns out to be not very much, because it's 15% of net income. All your sales minus every cost that they can come up with, minus what they're entitled to off on their, hey, we did all this investment, so you have to sell a lot before it becomes profitable. So if you're going to be submitting a document to be printed, you need to make it as close to camera ready as possible. My recommendation is find somebody who does proofreading professionally. I do it, or I have done it, and I charge a reasonable fee. I'm not advertising. I'm just telling you how this can work. Send it off to a professional proofreader at a whole lot less cost than the editor will. Have it proofread, and have them make suggested changes. When it's sent to me, I do proofreading and formatting, and have them look at it and see what they think. Have them make corrections. Lots of common errors out there that I used to have a document of about 45 or 50 words, that the very first thing I would do when I would open up a document, because I wanted it digitally and printed, is search for these words to see if they're used right or wrong, and not uncommon that they're used wrong. So what's my experience based on? I'm going to show you. These are just some of them. This guy here is mine. How long is he? 200 something pages, 191 pages, where I flipped open in the back. This one here is mine. 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 This was a major rewrite from another author. This one here is mine. 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 I have a stack of titles that I've published. Financial accounting, managerial accounting, principles of accounting, how to operate Microsoft Office, how to operate Sage or Peachtree, complete accounting, a number of other things. And I learned a lot about Microsoft Word. So some of the tips I'm going to give you in this video as we go are to help you get whatever you want printed. And one of the things among the clues I'm going to give you is if you're going to put in images, learn how to either copy your screen and edit them, and you can do a lot of editing in Word, photo editing in Word, or Microsoft, or in Adobe Photoshop. But do your images in as high resolution as possible, and frame them or whatever. So what I'm going to show you is how to use Microsoft Word to your advantage, and how to set it up so that when you send your document in to be evaluated by the editor, it's consistent. That's what they're after. They're after consistency, they're after readability, they're after presentation. It can't annoy their eyes, it can't make them tired, it can't bore them. And I'll tell you what, when you get your first royalty check from having a book published, and I had a lot of them because they print every they pay royalties. The people I worked with paid royalties every 6 months, and over 19 plus years I probably got 38 plus royalty checks. I wish they'd made me rich. They didn't, but when you get your first royalty check, that really drives home that you made it successful as an author. And at that point, you now have established your name inside your subject matter to push for your second printing. And I will tell you, I've written several novels outside of college textbooks, and I can't get them printed. Responses I get from the publishers, from the editors are, well, you're known as a college textbook author, so whatever. Okay, let's step over to Microsoft Word. As I said, I'm using 2010, but the principles apply because it really hasn't changed a whole lot. And hopefully this video will help you get your manuscript published. Let's go. I've scanned a page of my textbook in, and first thing I'm going to do is show you how to play with images in Microsoft Word. And it's a basic system. It's not great, but it's free and it's there. And with that, I've got show the paragraph marks, whatever you want to call them, show the editing marks up here. I'm going to open up a new page, Control Enter, go over here under Insert, and down under Shapes, go to New Drawing Canvas. And what it does is it throws this in. I'm going to increase its size to make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to format it. And the way I'm going to format it, come over to the edge, right-click it, Format Drawing Canvas, and I'm going to put a line around it. I'll leave it blue. I'm going to make it kind of big, 2.5, so it stands out. Okay, there are some interesting things that we can do with this, and I'm going to just show you a couple of them. I've copied to my memory a image, and one of the annoyances that I have with this system, but it works, you just work with what you have, is it doesn't like to paste directly into the canvas.
from something outside. So if I come down here and hit paste, the canvas is there. I've got now 2 images of that page. So what I do is I take this guy, make the image small enough to fit into my canvas, Control C, pull him down, go to my canvas, click into my canvas, hit Control V, and now he's in my canvas, and now I can play with him in my canvas. When I've got him in the canvas, if I hit Format, and then I can do things like come up here and crop him, and I can take off these borders that got picked up in the scan. Make it, oops, that's moving him, not trimming him. Let me get down here so I can see the edge of him. I want to grab this edge, bring him over. I want to bring this guy here up, and I want to take this little handle here and move him over to make him as neat as I can. When I click on him, now he's trimmed off all that extra stuff. If I'm going to paste him in my document, I'm going to hit Control. I'm going to click onto him, make sure I have him selected. Hit Control C. I'm going to leave him in here for a little bit. I want to get rid of this guy here. He's outside the canvas. Come back up here to where I was working. Hit Control V to paste him. Now I'm going to right click on him, and I want to format the picture. And under Format, I want to put a solid line around him. I want to make it 1.5, and we'll leave the rest of the styles. You can pick any style you want. Let's go with something fancy, and then click OK. And then your image has a definition inside the page. It doesn't blend into the page, that doesn't disappear. It comes up as an image. You can do a whole lot of stuff in Microsoft Word's Canvas if you want to insert shapes or arrows, and you can right click on this guy again, format to shape. Line color, we're going to make it red because we want it to stand out. Line style, we're going to make it 2.5, and we're going to pick something really kind of fancy, I guess. Okay. It didn't pick up the fancy. I guess it did. And you'll have other issues when you associate with these, because remember, we formatted part of it up in the document itself. We formatted part of it in the canvas. If you hit Shift and click on this guy, you can group them, and then click over here, and when you move them around, that arrow goes and it stays where it is. Now I'm going to ungroup them. And when you ungroup them, if you move stuff around, and other issues you're going to have is move him to the front, which is where he is now. I'm going to click on the page, move it to the front, the arrow disappears. The arrow's not really gone, the arrow's just behind the page. So sometimes you have to put your objects in front or behind. This area here is how I formatted the images in my book. This is a page from one of my books, and it makes that section stand out distinct. It's not blending into the page, it stands out, and it's called Preference. I'm on the Home tab of Microsoft Word, and as I said, I'm using Office 2010. It's fully installed on my home system, and I've used it for a long time. I cannot tell you that I'm currently skill proficient with Microsoft Word. I used to use it 40 hours a week, writing my own books, editing, proofreading, formatting other people's books, writing up documents, whatever else. And now I'm probably on it, well, for not as much detail as I used to be. Probably only a couple hours a day max. So we're on the Home tab, and up here at the top we have all of the styles that are currently in the system, and we're going to build some new ones for this presentation. And the way we need to build them, and you'll see how they interact with each other as we build them, and then we'll type a document up. The way we build them is backwards. Paragraph 2 is going to be followed by paragraph 1. Is going to be followed by the chapter subtitle, is going to be followed by the chapter title, is going to be followed by the chapter number, and you'll see how that works. And the way we build styles is on the bottom of the tile for styles. There's an arrow, and if you click on that arrow, you'll get what styles you have up. And these are all the styles, and I kind of like working with this one available because they're easier to read than these guys up in the top, where you can read some of them full, but you can't read all of them. Down in the bottom left-hand corner of this additional tile is Create New Style. So you click it once, and because we're doing this for the video presentation, I'm going to start these guys out with video. So Video Para 2 is the first one we're going to build. Style type, we're going to leave it paragraph. There's some options: characters, length, table, list, whatever. We're going to stick with paragraph. And style based on. This is one that you can go one way or the other, and I am going to go to based on nothing. No style. If you leave it based to its default of normal, or select another file and all of the styles are in there, and you change that referenced style, it may change this style automatically. Not good. Now, style for following paragraph defaults to whatever that paragraph name is, and you'll see how this is going to work. We want the follow-on paragraph to paragraph 2 to be paragraph 2, the same style, because they won't change. Only the first paragraph will change. We're going to change the font here. We're going to go to Cambria, which is the headings. That's okay. We're going to make the font point to be 12. We're going to do full justify just to make some differences. And we're going to come down here just because we're having fun and I want to show you what some of the capabilities of this thing are. We're going to come down to Format on the bottom left hand corner and go to Borders. And what we're going to do is we are going to border the paragraph. And you'll see how this comes up. And as I said or haven't said, this is not to show you how to format your book. This is to show you how formatting works in Microsoft Word. So we're going to say, okay, let's save that. Now we have that one saved. We're going to click again, and this time here we're going to do Video Para 1, and we're going to leave it as a paragraph format. We're not going to base it on Video Para 2. You could do it if you wanted. And the following is not going to be Video Para 1. That's the default. We want the following to be automatically to be Para 2. The selection of font was already there. We're going to choose this Arial Unicode. We're going to make it 16. We are going to right justify it just for the fun of it. And down here under Format, we're going to go to Paragraph. And on Paragraph, we are going to select Special, first line, 0.5. And it's probably 0.5 because that's my default. I don't know if that's a default or not, but that's a default. And under this, you can also change the spacing between your paragraphs as you go. We're going to leave it, we'll change it. Bring it down to 6. Okay. So we're now going to save it. That's Video Para 1. The next one we want to do is chapter subtitle. And back to New. Video Chapter Subtitle. It's going to be a paragraph. Once again, no style. And what we want this to do is to be the predecessor, the lead-in for Video Para 1. We want to pick something kind of dramatic. Let's go to 10. Let's go to Center Justify. And we'll leave the rest of it as it is. And we'll say we are okay, fine. The next one that we want to build is chapter title. So click on New again. Video Chapter Title. It's a paragraph. Base it on no style, just to be safe. and the follow-on we want to be the subtitle. And let's come up with something a little more common. Let's come up with Times New Roman, because I don't think we've used that. I'm not paying attention to what we've selected, and this is taking too long to get down to it, so I'm going to take something else here. 14, and we'll do full justify. So with video chapter title, formatted as I so desire, format the fonts and the sizes that are easy on the eyes, that are how you want to present them. If you're working with a publishing company already, or you're working with an editor, you may find that they have pre-desired fonts and sizes and formats, and if they do, go with those. With chapter title saved, we need to do one more, and that is video chapter number. It's a paragraph. We're going to leave it that way. I'm not going to get into how those guys work. And the follow-on to this is going to be chapter title. So we're going to select that. We don't want stencil. Let's pick something way down here that's kind of normal. Okay. And 16. And yeah, whatever. I'm not paying attention to what I'm selecting. So video chapter number is going to be followed by video chapter title. And now I'm going to save it. So at this point, we have all of our styles set up, all saved. And when we're working with these, Microsoft Word is taking these and telling us what we've got. I'm going to click back in to put us back into normal. And the very first thing we want to type in here is our chapter number. So we have chapter, I hit cap lock, chapter 1. And I'm going to insert some pages because we're going to be using those later on. Not all of them, don't worry about it. Okay. When we click into the text that we entered, Word is going to show us what it is, and it'll be highlighted over here. We can highlight it like this, and we want this to be our chapter number, our video chapter number. So we come over here, this is the side I like, video chapter number, click, and now it's formatted to that, and it shows in the upper style bar. When I hit enter, it comes up to the next style, automatically the style we set up in there, and help goes on. That's the title. When I hit enter, it takes me off to the subtitle, and it's formatting. I'm just making these up as we go. And when I hit enter, it takes me over to para 1, video para 1. And because it's right justified with the indent to the left, this is the first paragraph of the text document that we are playing. Oops. So I typed in enough to get us to show us an indent there, and if you look at the very top, it'll show you that there's actually a indent mark up here. So this is video para 1, and when I hit enter, it's going to go to video para 2, which, having fun with it, we put it in the box. This is video para 2 text. And when we hit enter, it stays in the box. This is the second para of video para 2. And it just keeps going. Now, One of the things I have, and it's a default, it's the way I operate, is I have show all my formatting marks, and that's this reverse P up on the taskbar. If I click that, then all those marks go away and it looks nice and neat, and it looks a whole lot neater. I normally don't work that way. I normally work in the show me, and when I want to see what it really looks like, or I want to take a screen print. For example, I'm going to use the snipping tool. If I want to take the screen print, then I hide them and I get nice, neat stuff. Whereas if I had it on, where'd it go? If I had it on and I do the screen print, I use the snipping tool, then I get those things in there we don't necessarily want in our prints. One of the things that we want to do to our document is we want to put in headers and footers. And headers and footers are preferences in Microsoft Word. I'm going to click on Insert, and it's going to take us over to an area that we can put in headers and footers. So I'm going to click on Headers, and then by default I have to click on something. And I really don't want that there, so I'm going to delete it, and I'll show you why. I'll explain why. I'm going to click up here in these options. I am going to click a different first page, different odd and even pages, and I'll show you how they work. So right now I have nothing inserted on my first page. It's the opening page of the chapter. I don't want anything in the header on that. So as I said earlier, I inserted a whole bunch of pages so we could have some fun here. I click Next, and what I want to put in next is Chapter 1, because that's what we're on. And I want to leave it left justified. So I am going to click on Next, and that takes me to the next page. And what I want to do here is Help Goes On. Anything I want to put in there, I really don't care. I'm just putting it in there. I'm going to come back to the insert and come up and right justify it. So I'm going to scroll through and show you what my pages look like now. On page 1, there's nothing. On page 2, it's left justified for chapter 1. And the way books work is when you open a book, the page on the right is page 1. It's the odd pages. The page on the left is page 2, or the even pages. So on page 2, we have chapter 1 on the left. And on page 3, we have Help Goes On the right. On page 4, with chapter 1 on the left. Page 5, Help Goes On the right, and so on. And we're happy with that. So let us now go to the footer. And I clicked on something to give me footer text, and I'm just going to delete that. And what we're going to do is we are going to look at some special areas over here. Also on the Design tab, which is where we ended up when we started playing with headers and footers. And we are going to enter page, space, and then under Quick Parts, we are going to go into Field. And this is preference. I'm just showing you what the capabilities are so you can use what you want. I'm going to go to Field, I'm going to select Page, I'm going to select Roman Format, and I have page number 3 of. I'm going to come back into Quick Parts. I'm going to come back into Fields. I'm going to go down to page, it's called Numbers, Number Pages. And I'm going to click that, and it tells us that we have 9. Now, I can turn around and highlight this, go back to Home, and I can change this to another font, and I can make it larger or smaller as I so desire. What I can also do, because I'm working maybe with a draft, is I can insert some other information here. So I saved it. I need to go back in under Quick Parts, back into Field. Need to scroll back down to File Name, Title Case, add the path, and update it. And now I can add other things. This is first draft. You can add additional text into your footer as you go. So working with your footers and your headers, you can set up the chapters as you so desire. In the footer, you can also do that, and it's already selected as different odds first, and whether I'm going to take those away. Now we've got them all. And the way you close this whole out for headers and footers is click on this red guy to close the design tab. And now as we scroll through, we should have the same footers, with the exception the page numbers change appropriately as we go through this. The last thing we're going to cover is section breaks. And section breaks allow us to play with this document in some interesting ways. So we're going to highlight this guy right here, this page break, and we're going to insert a section break. What we do is we come to page layout, and under breaks we want to select section break next page. Now this is not a page break, this is a section break, and you're going to see how it works. So when we come up here, we get this section break advisory, and following that section break, this is our headers and our footers. When we click into the header after that section break, and I'm going to scroll us back up, here's the section break. We click into the header down here. In the design tab, it's linked to previous. We don't want the header linked to previous, so we're going to unclick that, and with that we are going to reduce that, and we're going to type formatting. And we're going to say we're fine with that. Let's move to the next. We're going to go off to the next one, formatting help. Different first page, different we want different first page, different odds and evens. So formatting help. Now we can come down here to the first page. Formatting help in Word, and we will correctly spell that. And then we will click to the next. And what fun. And with this entry, we're going to close that. With this entry, we end up with different headers on all of our pages, set up by those, controlled by where that section break was to a new page. And what fun. Chapter 1. So we have fun with this. However, because we did not go into the footer, and I know I'm scrolling through this quick, we didn't change the footer at all. We could change the footer the same way if we wanted to. We could link to previous, take that off, change the footer for chapter 2, do whatever we wanted with it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to close this out. So section breaks allow you to change your headers as you go through the document. The formatting styles allow you to save a whole lot of time, maintain consistency. The paragraphs will stay that way. And your editors, as I said, they want consistency, they want ease of presentation, they want it to be appealing, and they want it to be error-free. They want it ready for the camera and for sales. And the more you make them work, the more they charge your account, and the less you're going to get in royalties. So I hope this helps. There's a lot more to Word than this. I will not say I'm a Word power user, only because I'm going to say just make up a number. There's 10,000 features of Word, and I probably know 250. I will just tell you that I did a lot of formatting, and I'm hoping that what I just showed you in styles and section breaks helps you and use yours, because I'm hoping that you get to write your document and print it out. And if you don't want to do it for printing, for commercial printing, try writing your own biography. There we go. Try writing your own biography. I was just involved in a discussion about biology. Try writing your own biography so that your family can have it when you're gone away. Hope this helps. I try to answer the questions that I do get, and one of the questions I got was, how do I get my manuscript printed? That would take weeks to discuss from my knowledge, and I tell you, I don't know all of it because I lucked out. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in another one.